Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and I'm here today with Amber Rothermel. Amber and I have worked together for a few years now, and I asked her to share with you a little bit about her and how she has dramatically grown her business over the past few years. Amber, welcome.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Let's give everybody a little bit of a background about you. You've been in real estate for just 6 years, and I think we started working together uh, in your let's see, about 4 years ago. Let's go back to that year and talk about it. I think you were definitely a solo agent at that time,
Mhm.
and you were in the middle of a $5.2 million year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. In 2013, I think October of 2013 was when I decided to come on over and work with you.
Right. So we started working kind of closely. I think you ended up wrapping up closing at about 30 units that first year, by
Mhm.
what I've got for you. And then that second year, you took off a little bit, didn't you?
Yes, with proper guidance, I feel like I started to go in the right direction with my real estate career and kind of find what best suited me and what direction I needed to go.
Yeah, you that second year you pretty much doubled your production. You went straight up to 10 million, closed 50 units that year. Um, and that's when we started real estate farming, wasn't it?
Yep, I think that second year, so the two major differences that I had from my first year when I joined you and your team was I went from having no support to just, being the buyer's agent, listing agent, as well as the admin support. And then the second year, with a push from you, I decided to hire my first administrative assistant. And she wasn't even full time, but I went that direction, and then from there, went from that 5.2 or 3 to the 10 million that second year.
Yeah, and I remember the long time. I mean, she was part time for a while, and I remember it was like a 6 month struggle to make that full time for you. I remember being an integral part in that process.
Scary first jump for sure.
Correct, but that worked out for all parties. Because at that point you certainly needed it, especially since you farm geographic neighborhoods. There is a lot of administrative support required, a lot of systems, and a lot of work to support that type of business generation activity for sure. But it really blew up when you hit your third year.
Yes.
Third, do you remember your numbers from your third year?
My third year, I went to 17.2 million is what was closed, and I think right at 76 transactions, and
That's
that was
right.
one buyers. I that year I did go ahead and give my buyers away, which was hard, a hard next step as well. And you kept telling me I will make more. Just kind of follow that direction and listen. So I did hire the buyer's agent, and then did have to replace my admin because my administrative support was the buyer's agent. And then, yeah, with the buyer's agent, myself, and admin support, we did the 17.2 million jump.
Right. And we started expanding because you started actually farming additional neighborhoods at that point.
Yeah, I started getting a little more serious, just knowing that I needed obviously to generate more leads. And I'm not a huge prospector, so some of the things I learned whenever I came over to KW was that you can actually generate business and not just wait for your phone to ring. So I decided to go the route of the farming, which you had talked about quite a bit in different meetings. So that was more appealing to me because I liked that avenue more so than calling and trying to be one of a lot of people fighting for that business.
Right. And then this last year, we're talking about an increase up to 21.5 million as well.
Correct. Yeah, I should close right about that at the end of this year, if I don't get anything additionally under contract. We still have a couple months left, so
Yeah.
it goes up. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
That's 92 units now we're talking about, correct?
yeah, right around. Yep, right around that 90 unit marker. And I did actually, you helped me interview some different administrative managers, and we decided to go with someone that was definitely more expensive, but decided to, make that leap and get someone that was, a very high quality person in the corporate world to come on board and help me. And she was kind of the person who pushed, if you remember, us to go ahead and just double the farming, which
Yeah.
we all laughed because she didn't quite understand at that point
That's her work. Yeah.
So, but in doing so with farming this year, as far as what we're doing, we're going to have closed right at 20 units from farming, and roughly about 6.5 million, which is about 212,000 for the for us in business as far as average price point and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So that's a big deal because and she is amazing, and you've got high talent in Natalie there working with you. And the fact that she wants to grow the company, even with the knowledge that's going to increase her job duties, because you're now farming 6 neighborhoods, you said, I think,
Yeah.
That's a lot. And you've expanded every year, you've added more. And I think your plan is to add even more this coming year, correct?
Yeah, we have a mini print shop. So
Yeah.
we run this machine once we decide that we want to go into a neighborhood. So I think what we'll do this year, because we are looking to actually grow our business pretty substantially this year and kind of take that next leap, I think we're going to actually double it and probably go to roughly 6,000 mailers a month with the same system that we've proven that works.
Yeah, and this is good. I want to back up on this because now you're all fired up to make a bigger expansion this year, and everybody doesn't know why you weren't as fired up. Because you only went from 17.2 to 21.5 million this past year. That's because you had a baby this year.
I did have a baby this year. That puts a little bit of pressure on when you're off for a little bit, to try and still bring in the business that you need to bring in.
Yeah, just phenomenal. And that was in the first quarter of this year too. So you've had a brand new baby for the last 3 quarters of this entire year while you're increasing business and growing it and strategizing for your big jump next year. And that's interesting too, because you're talking about, with you, it's just a system now, isn't it? You can just kind of repeat it and duplicate it in additional neighborhoods.
Yeah, pretty much. We found, roughly we're getting a 4,666% return on our investment as far as farming goes. So for me, it's more so just looking at, it's really helped me to understand, like, if I want to add someone additionally, I need to know what they, plan to make, or, to supplement their income, because we're going after high quality people. And then I can kind of know, exactly what I need to do as far as my marketing strategies go, what kind of return I should receive if I consistently do the things that I'm currently doing.
Right. And let's talk about that return, because for most people, sending out 30,000 flyers per month to your farms, that's just there's an obstacle to spending the dollars required to do that. However, if we go back and look at it with all those closings.
Sorry, Brad, we're just at the 3,000 marker right now.
What's that?
3,000 flyers.
What did I say?
30.
Oh, whoops. Whoops. Yeah, I added a 0. 3,000 flyers a month. Next year, you're planning for 6,000 flyers a month.
Correct.
And at the $3,000 a month mark, you're making over 200,000 in gross commission income off those farms alone. You've got some room there to spend the money when you're making that high end return.
Yeah, and actually, we are spending about $850 a month, so $9,600 a year is roughly what we're spending on the farming.
Right, and that's great. And I know, we always try to keep marketing expenses at roughly below 10% of your gross commission income, and you're clearly there. So there is room, even though everybody else might be scared by it. But if you have a great offensive lever like you guys do, and you pull that lever and it creates listings, it opens up the room to spend the money to get more. So the rich perennial will get richer in real estate. And you have to have that aggressive mentality to think that way.
Yeah, and the great thing that I really did learn from you is I could ask people for money. So my amount that I'm putting in is not 850. I'll just say that I have 2 other people that I work with very closely that, have over half into it. So my in is very low. So therefore, whenever I go and add, that's why when I go and add the additional 3,000 and get bigger, I know that I can afford that because I'm already having people pay in. Their info is on all of the stuff, and they just pay us a check every month, and we get it out there as a sponsor.
And just for you guys out there watching, she's referring to a lot of vendors that you refer a lot of business to can actually help support you in your marketing efforts, so long as it's limited to marketing, because there's so many vendors out there that we refer business to over time, that are so appreciative and they want to help in some way that's permissible under your local real estate laws. So you need to make sure that the vendors you do choose are ones that are allowed and in compliance with local licensing laws and federal RESPA guidelines and things like that. But you do, and they contribute, and so that helps cut those costs down even further for you. And they love getting the business too, because you give them a lot more business than they're paying. That's for sure.
Yep.
So that's great. Now let's talk about, because this is a very system. In fact, you even alluded to it earlier. We're talking about bringing on an additional person that we really are devoting to marketing, which for you is a lot just your farms.
Yeah. It definitely is something that we are going to have to do at some point, especially if we double it. But in the interim, I did actually purchase a tabbing machine.
Yeah.
That will tab them. So we have a folder and a tabber. So basically, we can bulk mail them. And, I would say the investment in creation right now and, the mini print shop that we have would probably be, about 8 to 10 hours. With the new system that we're having in place for my administrative manager, Natalie.
I can't wait for the day that you have to hire an industrial machine operator. That will be awesome. But for now, it's a marketing manager. And a little bit, I just want to talk a little bit about your system. In a nutshell, you send out monthly seasonal market update mailers to everybody in your farms, correct? That's correct. The general. Mm-hmm. Right. So you keep it very simple. You don't get crazy. You use the same templates for every farm pretty much too, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. We just have to pull the data from, Heartland MLS. And then from there, it's pretty simple. We just kind of paste it in. We double check everything, and then we get it sent out.
Right. However, when you choose to enter a new farm, you like to have what you refer to as proof of success, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I've tried it both ways, and it is not possible, I don't feel, if you're not an active, party in the real estate community where you're trying to farm, it's just not going to work. I wait till we have a sign out that we have listed, then we have under contract and that we've sold before we decide if we want to kind of take that leap and make that one of our farms that we consistently every single month hit with.
Yeah, I think that's really important, especially when you try to break into a neighborhood where you have a listing, or do whatever you can to get a listing in a neighborhood you want to get in. And then you can actually advertise in a way that shows that you're advertising the listing first with a just listed, an under contract or sale pending flyer, and a just sold flyer. Then you're just showing everybody, how hard you work to represent your clients, that you are succeeding in representing your clients. And then they go right into your system, right? Yep.
And then it's a really nice, easy, when you go on a listing appointment, it's very simple compared to, other appointments, because they've seen what you do as far as marketing goes. So they're not typically trying to cut your commission. They just trust you. They think you work really hard, and they're willing to hire you and usually not interview even.
Right. And so I love it when you call it this too. You always say, that's when I start my machine. Like, which neighborhoods next year do we want to start my machine in? Mm-hmm. And that's basically, it's a system where you are doing your monthly newsletters for the neighborhoods. And every time you take a listing in there, we send out the just listed, under contracts, and just solds. And you do other things too. You've worked expireds and FSBOs in the neighborhood, in your farm neighborhoods as well too, right?
Yep. And you can really tell when it works. When I remember telling you, Brian, I had someone actually reach out to me who was a for sale by owner and asked why I was the only realtor in my company that has not called him yet.
He called you. Yeah, because you're basically a celebrity at this point in time. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows your face from the flyers. It's definitely more of a conversion than generating a new client.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, it's pretty awesome, and I can't wait to see if we're doubling the business generation activities from 3,000 to 6,000 flyers per month, or mailers per month. That 21.5 million is likely to get up over 30 million next year. So I'm excited to watch that happen, Amber.
Yep, I'm excited as well. And like I said, the interesting part about real estate is I didn't realize that I could create a business within, and not just be a realtor. And that's what, has certainly helped me bring it to the next level for sure.
Yeah, and everything you're saying doesn't sound like the normal, realtor. When you're talking about ROI and maintaining your expenses and watching your budget and making hiring decisions based upon a budget, those are business conversations, Amber. So congratulations on running a very successful real estate business, and thanks for sharing it with everybody today.
All right, thanks, Brian.
You bet.
Bye-bye.